Iyhara! I've made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to the crystal's whispers, and I must say... Professor Claudian, where are your manners? While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I must remind you that even the most academically inclined prefer a composed recounting of events. Yes, of course. My apologies, Iyhara. Being consumed by my research for so long, I'm afraid I've quite forgotten how to engage in civilized conversation. In that case, perhaps we should start from the beginning. The crystal set adrift upon the ethereal tides, containing the memories of a party yet unknown. It cried out for deliverance from Pandaemonium, where the ancients kept volatile creations of the Balkan King. You yourself witnessed the power devouring the facility from within, and the advent of divine monstrosity brought with the myths of mythic beasts and powerful mage. Fortunately, your martial prowess and the combined magical talents of your companions Dennis and Ericthonius was sufficient to restore the order to the city's circles of Asphodelos, with the greater threat remains. The depths of Pandaemonium presence yet stirs, its intentions and identity shrouded in mystery. That is the issue at hand, is it not? Since it returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of the crystal. In the process, I detected an anomalous etheric signature, which I believe arose from the memories stored within. Analysis of this pattern suggested a feeling of loss and yearning, specifically the yearning to be made whole. And indeed, ambient readings have revealed an identical signature. This can mean only that another such crystal exists in our time. So my friend, I must depart to search for it forthwith. By tracing the matching etheric signature to its source, I believe it will be a simple matter to find our crystal's home. Professor, will this expedition be carried out by us, or will Iyhara grace us with her protection? I'm afraid she has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear Rusino. Namely, to seek out the secrets which lie nestled within Pandaemonium. This all began. From all that we have heard, it appears that time traversal of the crystal tower is not fluid. That is to say, one can but travel to a predetermined universe. We've been put into check-in on occasion in case there are any anticipated changes. As for you, my loyal assistants, I would ask you to remain here and continue cataloging the ancient creations. You can't mean. Do you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Yes, that would be the most efficient use of resources, would it not? In fact, I've already commissioned a ship and pilot for that very purpose. I trust you to take good care of the laboratory in my absence. I apologize for that somewhat abrupt departure. When progress is in sight, Professor Claudian tends to become blind to all else. Indeed, and he has been worse than usual. While I cannot fault him for his excitement, I do wish he would spare thought for those around him. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard. Not just it spoke only to you last time, none but the professor has been able to capture its ethereal yearning, which has only served to convince him that he can solve this puzzle on his own. Surely after some time alone, he'll come to remember how valuable we are. Search for this crystal seems to be simple enough in that. Let him have his adventure, and upon his return, I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. As for you, Iyhara, it might be best to return to Pandaemonium, as Professor Claudian suggested. Speaking of which, I did have a request of my own to make. Traveling to Pandaemonium requires you to pass through Elpis, correct? There is something I would have you investigate in my stead. While those creations confined within Pandaemonium are considered to be failures, I want to Douglas the whole story. Barring exceptional cases, they must have been under observation in Elpis before being consigned to the shadows. And if you know anything about the ancients, it's that they would have kept thorough records of the results. Ah, brilliant. Diving into these records will shed the light creatures Iyhara is yet to encounter. If your theory proves correct, Although no guarantees, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing blindly forward with only her strength to carry the day. For your own sake as well as ours, please unearth whatever information you can. Whoops. Wrong button. Records of Pandaemonium's creations. Master Themis has just finished perusing the very same. I should not be surprised that we both arrived at the same conclusion. Luckily, I have saved you the trouble of learning what information I could. Ah, so you know each other. I was dreading having to once again scour the archives. Perhaps I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, I shall take my leave. As should we. For I've undone the warding sigil blocking the entrance to the abyssals. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while waiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandaemonium's protective force continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there have been no fluctuations so great as to make me doubt Eric Thonios' capacity to keep watch over Asphodela's far away. He works diligently to master interment, that he might deliver the creations back to the cages by his own hand. I thought it best to give him time to hone his craft. And since fate has brought us both here, I would ask you to accompany me while I attend to another matter. More idle suspicions I would like you to chase down. Rest assured, it shall not take long. I simply have a few questions to ask an acquaintance of mine. Come, he has agreed to meet us near the nails of the Pandaemonium. As I have pondered our expedition into Pandaemonium, I could not help but be mystified by how strongly the warders we encountered felt for La Habrea. Whether we for good or ill. Hesperos and Erechthonius were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion, while the latter looked to his father with bald hatred. I would not expect a familiar such as you to understand this, but such extreme emotions towards a single individual are quite rare indeed. Naturally, I feel gratitude towards my mother and father, yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. This view is not unique to myself. It is more or less accepted as a way of things. By contrast, the researchers of Pandaemonium seem to view La Habrea with a feeling approaching obsession. Whether driven by love or hate, they all have been drawn to it. There are many other aspects of the facility's particulars I found troubling besides. I decided the best course of action would be to go straight to the source and pose my questions to remember the words of the La Habrea. My apologies for kept you waiting, Master Thomas. I understand you are conducting an investigation of Pandaemonium and wish to know of its origins. Indeed. In particular, I wish to know why exactly Pandaemonium was built directly under Elpis. The facility is overseen by the wards of La Habrea. Why keep it so close to Elpis, whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? At first, I thought it was simply a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by the researchers of Elpis could be easily ushered into their new homes. Imagine my surprise when a trip up to the archives revealed that many of their creations were sent from organizations beyond Elpis, including from the wards of La Habrea themselves. Given this, albeit limited information, I cannot feel that the academia and Iyhara would have been a more fitting locale. Because Elpis cannot be found there. These are fitting questions, and ones we have asked ourselves many times in recent years. Alas, the nature of Pandaemonium's construction does not lend itself to relocation. When it was built, circumstances weren't as they are now. As you surmise, the majority of creations kept at the Pandaemonium were sent from Elpis. Yet as the years passed, interest changed. Failures and creations deemed too flawed to Elpis paradox could drew the attention from Pandaemonium's researchers. That is quite the change, and in fact almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decides which creations will be subject to research? Master La Habrea. Such authority is reserved for the chief keyword, and he has taken it upon himself to step into that role. So if Pandaemonium's resources were being misused, it would be under La Habrea's authority, correct? I know not what you're suggesting, but the keywords also hold some sway within the facility. Not even Master La Habrea would be free from this scrutiny. They are duty-bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible. Although I admit, as of late, their communication has been somewhat sporadic. We but recently received a report from one of the keywords stating that all is well within Pandaemonium's halls. Really? And you are certain that a keyword sent it? Yes, of course. Communication suffered temporary obstruction. I can assure you that the words did their due diligence confirming the identity of the sender. Thank you. This information will be helpful to my investigation. I will go for my pride. Then I shall take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation freely, I must remind you that the warder's work is delicate, and it would be remiss to disturb it for any longer than is necessary. Let us hurry. I don't know why our adversary sent that report, but it is plain that we must return to Pandaemonium with haste. I cannot guess as to why this false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill. As does the knowledge that our mysterious mastermind has at least one more keyword to limit. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, and we would be remiss to leave Eric Thornios at the mercy of their machinations. Let us hope no harm has befallen him. Traced these sigils countless times, yet I lack the strength to maintain the spell. And now time works against me. I can no longer be victim to my own ineptitude. Wait, who goes there? There's something to be desired, such a single-minded effort. Even if your methods leave much to be desired. You allowed this familiar to catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high as to forget to walk upon the earth? I know this creature, a familiar of the Phoenix, but that monster is locked away. That it is, in spite of the trouble I went to freeing it, I might add. Begrudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must, but with control of Asphodelos wrested from my grasp, 'tis simply the best I can offer you. Hide if you will, but mark my words, I will find you, and I will make you pay for the chaos you've sown. Now, there's no need to such hostility. Calm heart stays the course. The wisdom of La Habrea, your father. And how would you know what wisdom he speaks? I've heard those words many times, scolding of a tutor whose students struggled to grasp the most rudimentary lessons, seething with disgust. No. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperos. That can only mean one thing. That you still insist on mocking me. Stop this farce, La Habrea. At last you leave to keep up. Pity that you remain behind nonetheless. What? As ever you are, as always you fail to learn, fail to understand, fail to act. And though fate deigned to offer an escape, you remain here. You are bereft of magical prowess and common sense both. You need not despair. Dull though you may be, you are yet indispensable to Pandaemonium's great experiment. There's the affection I remember. Tell me, did I ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall. Take pride in that, and rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. What wish? Come, and all shall be revealed. All this rage, this hatred, it is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires lie more than you know. Are you... Uninvited guest during a reunion. Seems fortune no longer favors you. ever think I have any interest in enlisting your prattle, let alone bowing to your will. I'm no longer a child, and my faith lies with those who have earned it. So these are the heroes who brought Hesperos low, even as power divine flowed through his veins. It is plain there are worthier subjects to contend with. Just what was that familiar after? Thank you. That showed up even a moment later. I started to think about what had become of me. Something I must tell you. I know who is behind this. There's but one person who could hold thrall of a familiar, creation and keywords alike. Eric seems to have heard the story to tell. Perhaps we should lend an ear. And so there can be one conclusion. La Habrea was the driving force behind this chaos from the start. There is logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider an experimentation on such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast, with the rest of us none the wiser. Considering the magnitude of his works with the convocation and the words, his relatively mounting role as the chief keyword comes under little scrutiny, even as it provides him with the authority to wield dangerous magics. It may serve as veil and mantle both. Still, I find the notion hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the La Habrea I know. You have met him. You have met him, yes? Do you think he is capable of this? La Habrea is capable of far more than you know. Is he? So you believe La Habrea to be a man of few scruples if it brings his goals closer to reach. That alone should be enough, but let me assure you, La Habrea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. While he may not be one to let emotion stand in the way of his mission, I cannot believe there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Although we met but briefly, the impression he left on me stands in stark contrast to your evaluation. Though his methods are ever unorthodox, they seem guided by a firm understanding of what is just. There is one way to find out for certain. We delve deeper into the Pandaemonium and pull back the curtain of this mystery ourselves. As wise course, I will not deny the truth if I saw it with my own eyes, even if it was discomforting to even if it was discomforting to behold. Must move forward with no excessive caution. La Habrea, or whomever is behind us, is like to spread their tentacles into every corner of the Pandaemonium. We can safely assume that the other keywords won't greet us with open arms. Let us make our way through that abyssos one careful step at a time. I shall stay by Eric Thorninger's side in case our enemies need to target him again. Good, I shall be content to Vanguard. Thank you. As a precaution, I shall safeguard you for the simple spell. This will ensure that even should we become separated, my Pandaemonium will still come to your aid. If it does come to battle, the keywords matches will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have Eugene to scale somewhat. I trust you shall be liberal with your weight. Judging from the demeanor of that familiar, there's little doubt our enemy has a tight grip of Pandaemonium and its denizens. We will be vulnerable. Just what is we are playing? What role do I play in his schemes?